A lonely island sits under a bruised sky, surrounded by restless black water. Lightning flickers behind clouds like a silent warning written in light. The mainland beyond is a dim silhouette, distant and indifferent. The air feels charged, as if the world is holding its breath before speaking. The seer walks the cliff edge, hearing a voice that feels like thunder inside the bones. A bright glow blooms behind him, too clean to be moonlight. His hands shake as if the air itself is pulling words out of him. He turns toward the light, knowing the next step is no longer his choice. A cavern of shadow fills with sudden light, revealing 7 gold lamps in a perfect line. Their flames do not flicker in the wind, as if they burn on a different set of rules. The seer understands that this is an invitation, not a comfort. The air smells like metal and clean smoke, and the silence feels watched. A doorway of light opens into a vast sky hall where color bends like a rainbow ring. A glassy sea stretches under it, smooth as polished stone. Thunder rolls without rain, like a voice that refuses to whisper. The seer feels small, not from fear alone, but from scale. An old man reads from a worn book as if each line weighs more than a lifetime. He pauses, listening, as if answers are arriving through the air. His face tightens with grief and awe at the same time. He knows what is coming will not be stopped by arguments or good intentions. A sealed scroll rests on a stone slab marked with wax seals that look too perfect to break. The air around it seems heavier, like the room is waiting for permission to move. The seer understands that every seal is a door, and every door opens into consequence. When the first seal cracks, the silence feels like it shatters. A white horse stands alone on a ridge, unnaturally calm under a restless sky. Its breath shows as mist, steady and patient. The world feels poised, like a held note that will soon snap into a new melody. The first sign is not violence, but inevitability. A red horse appears in the rain, framed by a sky that looks bruised and angry. Thunder hits like a drumbeat, and the air tastes like iron. The seer senses conflict spreading across the world like fire through dry brush. The second sign does not need to swing a blade to promise pain. A black horse waits near a set of hanging scales, motionless in a dim wind. The seer tastes scarcity before he sees it, like hunger in the back of the throat. Prices rise, tempers break, and the fragile order of daily life becomes a weapon. The third sign is quiet, and that quiet makes it crueler. A pale horse emerges from fog as if the earth is exhaling something it never wanted. The light around it looks sickly, drained of warmth. The seer feels the shadow of mass loss, not as a number, but as an absence that spreads. The fourth sign is not a battle, it is a thinning of the world. A woman becomes a witness, not by choice, but by survival. She watches the sky and feels the world's rules loosen like knots coming undone. Every sound seems louder, every shadow more meaningful. She knows people will deny what they cannot control, and that denial will cost lives. Still, she stays standing. A golden bowl of incense smolders on stone, and the smoke rises in a straight line. The seer hears prayers like a distant tide, layered and relentless. Then the bowl tips and ash falls as if the sky has finally decided to answer. What follows is not comfort, it is response. The ground splits in jagged lines and buildings shudder as if waking from a long sleep. The sun dims to a cold disk and the moon looks bruised in the haze. People everywhere scramble for shelter and find none that truly holds. The seer realizes the world can be shaken like a table, and everything on it will slide. A hardened man checks his gear and tries to turn prophecy into a plan. He has seen chaos before, but this is different. It is organized like a sentence. He watches the horizon and senses a coming wave that no weapon can intimidate. His jaw tightens, not from bravery, but from refusal to break. When the next sound arrives, it feels like a trumpet in the bones. 7 gold trumpets lie in a row on stone steps gleaming under stormlight. The air feels stretched tight like a string about to snap. The seer understands that sound will become action, and action will become aftermath. The first blast is not heard in the ears alone. It is heard in the way the world flinches. Ice and fire fall together, an impossible mix that turns fields into chaos. Forests burn in patches and the air fills with choking haze. People run with their hands over their heads, stunned that the sky can do this. The seer feels the old terror of nature, multiplied by judgment. The world starts to look scorched in its own reflection. The sea churns as if something massive fell into it, and the horizon turns the color of rust. Waves slap the shore with a new violent rhythm. Ships lose direction and the coast smells wrong. The seer watches the water and understands the message. The world's foundation can be poisoned. A bright star drops from the sky like a thrown spark and strikes the river. The water glows an unhealthy color, beautiful in the way a bruise can be beautiful. People drink and fall sick, cursing the sky and each other. The seer learns that even sweetness can become harm when it is forced on the world. Daylight weakens as if someone turned the world's lamp down. Stars look farther away and the moon becomes a thin coin of light. Crime rises, fear rises, and quiet becomes dangerous. The seer feels time itself wobble as if the calendar no longer matters. Darkness is not just the absence of light, it is pressure. A deep pit yawns open in the earth, and smoke pours out like the world is exhaling ash. The sun disappears behind the cloud and breathing becomes difficult. Strange shapes flicker inside the smoke, quick and unsettling. The seer understands that some doors are meant to stay closed. Once open, they do not politely shut again. A man stands over a table of supplies, trying to make order out of panic. He has the posture of someone trained to move toward danger, not away from it. But the danger now is not just physical, it is moral, spiritual, and contagious. He realizes fear can spread faster than any plague. He chooses to move anyway because stopping would be surrender. The smoke thickens and fills streets like a living tide, hiding corners and swallowing sound. Small shapes move inside it, too many to count, and the mind supplies horrors the eyes cannot confirm. People scream at shadows and strike at air. The seer sees the pattern. Confusion is a weapon, and terror is the ammunition. A great river dries into cracked mud, revealing stones that were hidden for ages. The air above the riverbed shimmers with heat and dread. The seer senses a path opening for powers that should not cross. Across the world, armies begin to move, and ordinary families become collateral without understanding why. The world feels herded toward a meeting it never consented to. A child stands on a rooftop and watches the sky like it might fall. She clutches a small light as if it can hold back the dark. The world below is silent, the kind of silence that means danger has already passed through. She does not fully understand prophecy, but she understands fear. Still, she stays awake and keeps looking. A boy is handed a small scroll and told to take it in fully, no matter the taste. It feels sweet at first, like certainty, like a story that ends cleanly. Then it turns bitter, like responsibility and grief settling in the stomach. The boy looks up as if searching for an adult who can fix this. There is none. He must carry the message anyway. A sign appears in the sky, light wraps the moon, and the stars look like scattered sparks. A dragon-shaped shadow coils through clouds, enormous and unreal. The seer understands this is a story of pursuit, of innocence hunted by power. What follows is not just catastrophe, but conflict with meaning. The sky becomes a stage, and the world becomes an audience with no exit. From the sea rises a beast-like shape, crowned with foam and darkness. Waves slam against it as if the ocean is trying to push it back down. The seer feels the birth of a new empire of fear, built on spectacle and obedience. People will cheer it, then serve it, then regret it too late. The water keeps churning as if the world is boiling from underneath. A woman stands alone in wind, holding a white cloth like a vow. She looks fragile against the sky, but her posture is steady, chosen. The seer understands that beauty here is not decoration, it is defiance. The world is asking everyone to bow, to trade truth for safety. She refuses, and the refusal is louder than any trumpet. An empty market sits under gray light, its stalls abandoned and silent. Coins lie scattered with a stamped symbol that seems to glare back at the eye. The seer senses a new kind of captivity. Buying, selling, and surviving turned into permission and control. People will be forced to choose between conscience and food. The air feels transactional, cold and final. 7 bowls sit in a row, each one filled with a glow that looks beautiful and wrong. The seer understands they are not gifts, they are releases, poured consequences. The earth cracks, waters sour, and skies burn with heat as if creation itself is protesting. People curse the light that exposes them. The bowls do not argue, they simply empty. A second woman lifts a bowl with careful hands, face calm but eyes haunted. She looks like someone trying to do the least harmful thing in an impossible world. The seer watches and understands that judgment can be carried by ordinary people, not just monsters. She pours, and the air seems to tighten like the world bracing. Afterward, there is no applause, only the next consequence. A great city collapses into smoke and orange glow, its towers losing shape in the haze. The seer hears celebration and mourning tangled together, because some will call this justice and others will call it loss. Wealth turns to ash and power turns to silence. The world learns that what looks unshakable can fall in a single night. The sky stays bright with fire-like light long after the screams fade. A white horse appears again, framed by a bright break in the clouds. The seer understands this is not a repeat, it is an answer. The air feels cleaner, sharper, as if truth has weight. Those who built their lives on cruelty feel the ground shift under them. The world is moving toward an ending that is also a beginning. And woman sits in the ruins of a home and holds her grief like a physical object. She whispers names into empty air and receives only echo. The seer recognizes this moment as the real cost of every grand sign, ordinary sorrow. She does not debate prophecy, she survives it. Tears fall, and the dust does not care. A vast white throne appears above clouds, brighter than daylight and colder than ice. The seer feels every hidden thing pulled into the open, like secrets dragged into sunlight. No bribes work here, no excuses survive. The world stands exposed, and even silence feels like testimony. Books lie open on stone, pages turning as if moved by invisible wind. The seer understands they are records, not stories, and every line is a decision remembered. People who trusted power feel suddenly small. People who hid in lies feel suddenly loud. Judgment is not a shout here, it is reading what was already written. A radiant city descends from the sky like a perfect shape drawn in light. Its walls shimmer with colors that look like gemstones under sun. The seer feels the air change as if fear is losing its grip. This is not an escape. It is a replacement of what was broken. The world's wounds begin to close in the mind before they close in the body. The seer stands at the edge of a river that looks like liquid light. He feels the exhaustion of every vision finally meet a quiet peace. The horrors were not illusions, but they are no longer the only truth. He breathes as if he is learning how to breathe again. His hands stop shaking. The woman kneels near the water and touches leaves that look newly made. She feels healing arrive as something practical, not poetic. The seer understands that restoration is not a single moment. It is a pattern, repeated until the world remembers how to be whole. The children's future matters again. She stands with a steadier spine than before. A street of light stretches forward, quiet and clean, with water running through its center. The tree canopy above looks endless, heavy with life instead of threat. Night feels like a story that ended, not a danger waiting to return. The seer understands the final promise. No more fear as a ruler. The world does not forget what happened. It simply stops being trapped by it.